Hi guys, welcome to block 2 of the Intro to R for Coaches, and we're going to be looking at a couple ways that we can manipulate the data so we can alter the data very quickly and easily using R. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to pull up that Savant 2020 Excel sheet that we used in a prior lesson. So either you need to go back to Classroom and re-download that, and if you're in Classroom, remember, you're going to just click on Savant. It's too big. You're going to click on the little 3 dots, open a new window, and then it's going to say download right here. Okay, that's the download button. The second way that you can just do is if you already have it downloaded, we can just bring it right in, just as we usually would, or the way that we have been. So once it's in, you're ready to go. So once it's in, we're going to see that we have the Savant 2020, and we're going to see again we have 105,000 rows and 92 columns. So we're going to be making some more data frames, and remember, a data frame is it's an Excel spreadsheet, but you can make your own inside of R. So we're going to be pulling in a couple of players, and it's going to be totally up to you who you want to examine today. So in order to make the new data frames, we need to call on a skill that we've already downloaded when we downloaded Tidyverse, and it's going to be called the library dplyr. Okay, and dplyr is going to be very helpful to us, and we're going to just run it. And you're going to get some red, but don't worry about it. As long as it's been attached, you're ready to go. All right, and so the very first thing you're going to want to do is to name your future data frame. So we're going to just name it Mookie to start. We're going to all filter in the same person. We're going to name it Mookie, and then we're going to put the equal sign. So we're going to say that the data frame Mookie, the new Excel spreadsheet that's going to show up here, is going to be called Mookie. Just like we have one that's called Savant 2020, we're going to name this one Mookie. And then we're going to do something we have yet to do in R, is that we can filter different pieces of data into a data frame. So we're going to say Mookie is equal to, and we're actually going to pull in Savant. So now if I just run this, Mookie is equal to Savant, I'm going to get a second data frame in here, and I'm going to run that. And it's going to say Mookie, so Mookie is equal to Savant. So it's literally just gone and done the same thing. So it's at 105,000 rows and 92 columns. But we can get more creative than that, and we're going to learn this is going to be a really important piece to this whole thing, is going to be something called then. Okay, and then is just the percent sign, that little greater than sign, and percent sign. And so we're going to say Mookie is equal to Savant. Then we're going to filter, okay, and we're going to go into Mookie to see what we want to filter by. And we're going to see that there's a column named player name, okay? And we're going to say filter the column player name, and it has to be equal, and then we're going to put in parentheses Mookie Betts. Now you're going to realize, so now we're going to get all of Mookie's data for the 2020 season. He's seen 447 pitches. We're going to click on it just to double check. And now we're going to see that Mookie, every piece of data from Mookie Betts has been filtered in here, which is going to be amazing. And it's the first time that we've made a data frame, and you guys can start to see the power of dplyr a little bit. And so once you have your data kind of filtered in, you can start to manipulate it a little bit. I would encourage you guys to start to look at, the different plots that you could potentially make, launch speed by launch angle just for Mookie Betts. If I wanted to look at some other things, I can start to add some color in. I can start to do some more analysis just on Mookie Betts if I want to. I can pull up his plate X and his plate Z, and I can see where his swings are coming from. But now is going to be the really great part about dplyr, is that let's say I have Mookie Betts in, and if I want to change it, maybe I don't want to do Mookie Betts and I want to do Eric Hosmer. I can now filter, run that line of code, and now inside of my Mookie data frame, I have all of Eric Hosmer's data. So I can run some really quick analysis. That's Mookie, and this is going to be Eric Hosmer. Okay, this is really kind of abstract to us right now, but we're going to start to see some more as we move along in this class. But what's great about dplyr is that we can put in multiple filter statements if we want to. We can say, give me Eric Hosmer and, okay, give me balls, launch speed greater than 90 miles an hour. And so now we're going to see this data frame is going to change again. And Eric Hosmer's only put 20 balls in play that are over 90 miles an hour. And again, it's always important to look at your data frame to see what you have. So you have the player name, and then I would just always go double check to make sure that you're Your filters are about right. Let me see if I can find the launch angle real quick. Launch speed. And then I have his 20, all balls are above 90 miles an hour. Great. So I would encourage you to explore the filter option here, but we're going to add one more thing to this. So as you work through, you kind of get the idea of, I would filter in a couple different players. Remember, spelling is going to be very important. Inside of the filter, it won't pull up the right data if you have like a misspelled player. You're going to see you have a big 0 there. Yeah, that's going to let you know that you have no data inside of it. So the next thing we're going to add to it, so I've gotten rid of my plot information, we can start to add a density plot. So I'm going to show you what a density plot looks like, and we're going to work backwards from that. So a density plot, most simply, just shows you where the highest peaks and the lowest lows of something are happening. So in Eric Hosmer, we can see that most of the balls that he's putting in play above 90 miles an hour are going to be greater than 20, or the highest frequency of them. So that's kind of what we get when we look at a geom density plot. And the way that we do this is very simply, is that, again, we're going to plot Mookie, and the aesthetic is only going to be one variable, and we're going to see it's going to be launch angle. Okay? And then we're going to just add geom density. And that's it. It's very simple. But again, playing with dplyr a little bit, we can go back and maybe I don't want the launch speed filter, and I just want all of Eric Hosmer's balls. And then I'm going to run that. Oops. I got to make sure I add the little parentheses. I'm going to run it. And now we get a different story. So this is just going to show us that most of the balls that Eric Hosmer is hitting are going to be around 40 degrees of launch angle. One thing to note about is that it's going to say 200 rows contain non-finite values. So that's just going to say that we have balls that were not put in play, so they have no launch angle on them. So that's going to be geom density. And because we really don't have any identification of what this plot is, what we're doing with it, we're going to learn one more piece of code, and we're going to add in something called labs. And so labs are literally just called labels, just shortened to labs. And we're going to add a title. Title is equal to Eric Hosmer launch angle density. Okay. And we're going to run that. And now we get a title. So it gives us a little bit more context. And we can also go in, if we want to, we can make it look really nice, add a subtitle is equal to 2020 season. So we're going to run that. Okay, we can get a little fancy if we want to, and we can say, maybe we want to color equals blue. And we're going to run that, and we're going to see that we have the outside, but we can also fill, this is really just extras right here. We can fill it in with blue. So I'm going to encourage you guys to play around with geom density a little bit, and also play around with adding in titles and subtitles. And so just as a quick addition, if you want to, maybe you don't want to look at Eric Hosmer, and maybe you want to look at the pitch name as equal to slider. And so we're going to see right up here that we have Eric Hosmer's 254 batted balls. We're going to see that there have been 18,000 sliders thrown this year. And instead of Eric Hosmer now, we can just say slider launch angle density. Oops, and that's going to be, so that is going to be the slider launch angle density because we already have it inside of it. And we're going to see that, again, we can just start to do some comparative stuff. Maybe we don't want to do slider, and maybe we want a sinker, and we'll run that. And we have to realize that now we're going to change this to sinker. So you got to kind of keep track of stuff, but it gives you the general idea of what you can and can't do. All right, so that's going to be for lesson 4. And what you guys are going to do is you're going to run your own filter statements inside of dplyr, and you're going to pull in something that you guys are interested in, a player, a pitch type. You guys can decide for yourself using the Savant data. And we want to look at a couple things that I want to check your understanding of filtering. So please filter by something for me. And then 2, I want you guys to get a little bit more familiar with the labels because that's going to be more important as we kind of move along here. So that's going to be the assignment. You're going to create a filter, you're going to create a new data frame, and then you're going to make a geom density plot for me, and you're going to put it inside of Classroom. All right, so anything from this point forward in the video is going to be kind of bonus. You guys do not need to do this if you don't want to. This is just going to be, again, to refresh your memory of some of the skills that we've learned already. So maybe we don't want to even filter, and we just want all of the same data frame inside of Mookie. And maybe we want to just run this and look at the launch angle of all balls that have been batted this year. Okay, so we're going to see that. But again, to add little pieces of code, and we can start to see the power of R. And so we learned facet wrap in the last block of lessons. So you can just go facet wrap by pitch name. Okay, and we're going to make sure we always have that little plus at the very end. And when we run it, we're going to start to get a clearer picture of how and where the different balls are hit. And you guys can kind of see the power of that too. So that's just a quick, like, if you guys wanted to add that to your plot, there's nothing you need to worry about. It's just a little refresher that we can always add a facet wrap into this.